Most small businesses fail because they can't bring in enough profit. And most people think the problem is caused by not being able to attract enough high quality leads on a consistent basis. But when we scratch the surface just a little bit, we find the reason most businesses aren't able to attract enough qualified leads. And it actually doesn't have anything to do with marketing or sales. In fact, just a couple of minor tweaks in most businesses is all that's needed to fix the problem. Hi, my name is Scott Seidemann, and welcome to the short video where I'm going to talk to you about the Freedom Profit System and exactly how you can build your own $1 million revenue machine. In just a moment, I'm going to explain how every single business owner, no matter what business you're in, can use the Freedom Profit System to create the kind of freedom lifestyle you've been dreaming about, and how you can start today. If you want the ability to really be your own boss, work from anywhere in the world so you can have true time, money, and location freedom, then make sure you watch every single second of this video. I'm even going to show you how you can work with my company so you can hit the ground running and more quickly start living your own dream life. But before I get to that, let me rewind to 2003, when my life looked a lot different. My wife and I were both in our mid-30s, and we had just purchased our first home together. Just like most families, this was a really big deal for us. I remember the mortgage payment was right around $3,000 a month. We had paid around $270,000. Interest rates were much higher back then. So I had a very expensive mortgage. My problem was, more than the mortgage, I had no regular roster of clients, even though I'd been in business for a few years by then. And even scarier to me was that I had no predictable way to know how many clients I'd get the next month, which meant I had no way of knowing how much money I'd make the next month or the next quarter or the next year. And I still owed about $225,000 on my student loans. So there I was, about $500,000 in debt, zero savings. As I'm saying it right now, it's stressing me out. And I just started my own business, which wasn't even generating reliable revenue. Forget about profits. In fact, just telling you about this now, I feel myself tensing up. The point of all this is that there was a lot of debt and no solid financial footing, which meant I couldn't afford to advertise, which I thought at the time was my only hope of attracting new clients. So eventually I did scrape up enough money to start running some ads, and it did generate some business, but not the kind of regular flow of new clients that I was looking for. And the clients I was getting were not exactly the cream of the crop, but I believed what the experts were telling me. So I kept at it for another 3 years. My biggest problem was that I had no efficient way of getting clients on a regular basis. Does that sound familiar? I was taught to spend a lot of money on advertising, and that would make the phone ring a lot. And out of all those calls, there would be a few people who could truly be good clients for me. But that was a terrible way to market. It was so inefficient because it meant I had to pay to advertise mostly to people who were not interested in me. And then I had to pay to screen all those calls so I could find the really few people who might be interested in hiring us. And this philosophy really held me back because I started trying to grow my business through advertising. Now, this was back in the old days, and that advertising was mostly on TV. So essentially, I was paying to advertise to everyone in the country, even though only a tiny percentage of those people would ever be in a position to need my services, let alone be able to hire me. And the bigger problem was that I was generating a huge number of calls at this point, but fewer than 1% were even what I would consider a qualified lead. And I had nothing to sell the other 99% of the people that I had just paid to call my office. The system was a total disaster, and it only served to make it harder for me to grow my company because of these problems. And maybe some of you can relate to this. This went on for a few very frustrating years, until I started talking with a couple of guys who were a little older than me, and they were actually retiring just as I was getting started. And one of them told me something I never forgot. He said, "You don't have a problem. You just need to start talking to the people who really need you." This sounds like a simple thing to say, and I guess it was, but it was like I was struck by lightning. I mean, the world's biggest, brightest light bulb just went off in my head. And three more short years, I had it figured out. And the thing was, the whole time I was looking for the wrong thing. See, I thought there was going to be a formula to building a strong business, but that was a huge mistake, because even if there was a formula, it wouldn't have worked for me. I was missing the knowledge of how to put the formula to work. So what I really needed wasn't a formula at all. I needed a process. You might ask, well, what's the difference? Well, let's say you have the recipe for a great cake. The recipe would be like the formula. But let's say you don't understand the cooking instructions. I mean, that's like the process. Well, then the cake's not going to turn out very well, even though you had a great recipe. Well, at the time I was doing this or learning this, there wasn't a process, but there is now. And that's what the Freedom Profit System is. And that's why it's the cornerstone of the $100 million revenue machine. And what makes the Freedom Profit unique and so effective is its simplicity and the fact that it applies to every single business. When I went all in on the Freedom Profit System, that's when everything changed for me. And that led me to the problem solution framework that's at the heart of the Freedom Profit System. You see, people are constantly on the lookout for solutions to their problems. Sometimes their problems are fun, like where should we go for our summer vacation this year? But sometimes the problems are painful, like won't someone please find a cure for my rheumatoid arthritis? But either way, people have problems and they're hungry for solutions. If you can solve their problem and heal their pain, then they'll love you and buy from you forever. They won't even comparison shop because they already know that you provide the best value. You're immediately elevated above your competition, and you're no longer having to compete on the basis of price. This is the beginning of a new way of life for you. And since that time, I've gone on to start several more businesses, each time applying the Freedom Profit System, and each time I got continually better results. And after sharing it with friends and watching them build their businesses successfully, I knew this process was working for basically anybody that was willing to implement it. And that's why I turned it into a system. Now, before I reveal the details of the system, you might be wondering, Scott, this worked for you because you had this or you had that, and won't I have to spend thousands of dollars and years of trial and error just like you did? No. The answer is definitely not. I can't let anyone else go through that if I can help it. And that's why I'm offering you the book for only $5. And the best part is I'm also going to give you the entire system, the Freedom Profit System, the templates, the emails, the pages, and the ads we use for our clients. So you could just focus on building your own revenue machine that systematically brings you new high fee paying clients on a regular and reliable basis every single month. And the reason this system works so well is that we present our clients with an offer that's so good, they simply cannot say no. And believe me, this is a real game changer. The best part is that once you have all this working for you, you can spend all your time doing the things that you want to do instead of the things you have to do. So that's the Freedom Profit System. Now, it took me 5 years of struggling to even figure out what my problem was. And then it took me another 3 years of trial and error to get everything working. And what makes the heart of what makes the Freedom Profit System so effective is its simplicity. It's based on what I call the FIRE system. FIRE. It's a simple 4-letter acronym that's really easy to remember if you ever want to start your own business, or if you already have a business and you're working too hard to make too little. You're really going to like this. So the F in FIRE stands for framing your ideal client in your ideal niche. Now, everyone talks about niching down and how there's riches and niches, but the truth is we have to dig a lot deeper to really find the gold. While choosing the niche is important, it's not nearly as important as how your business is positioned within that niche. Take, for example, one of our clients, Dr. Mike. He's a chiropractor who was really struggling when we first met. He wasn't making enough to cover his overhead, and he was having trouble getting good clients. And the reason he felt like his clients weren't that great is because they were all finding him through coupon books. Dr. Mike's niche had unintentionally become the coupon chiropractor. And this is the worst. No one wants to be known for being cheap. Within just a couple of minutes of meeting Dr. Mike, we learned that he had created a foolproof method for treating neck pain caused by work-related strain. So this is like for truck drivers or people that sit all day at computers and they get repetitive stress injuries. He had a great little brochure about it in his office, but almost none of his patients were interested because they were all discount shoppers that he got through coupon books. None of them were premium fee shoppers. So we repositioned Dr. Mike's practice so that he was solely focused on the people who needed his solution the most. We immediately stopped his advertising in coupon books, and we refocused his marketing on the people that were most likely to need him. The response was immediate. It was as if his favorite clients had been waiting for Dr. Mike to come riding along on his white horse, wearing his white hat, offering pain relief to his hurting fan club. His best patients were no longer discount hunters. They were people who saw Dr. Mike as the answer to their prayers and their pain. They were happy to pay Dr. Mike's premium fees to get the solution to their problem. And when he made this fairly small pivot, the results were eye-popping, at least to Dr. Mike. But we weren't surprised at all. Within 8 weeks, he was no longer seeing any coupon patients and very happily only working with the patients he wanted most. Okay, the I in FIRE stands for irresistible messaging that will reach out and grab your ideal client's attention. You see, your messaging needs to stop them in their tracks. You gotta make people want to stop what they're doing and hear what you're saying. The next one is our big one. The R stands for a ridiculously good offer that your clients will feel compelled to buy and that they cannot say no to. The value people should get from your offer should be such a crazy good deal that people will only want what you have to sell. And that's the real secret to getting people to throw their money at you. If you go to Costco to shop, you'll notice they also have a little food service area where you can buy hot dogs and slices of pizza. Now, probably no one goes to Costco just to have a hot dog, but Costco is famous for selling their hot dog and a soft drink combination for $1.50. The deal is so good that if you go to Costco just about any day of the week, the line for the $1.50 hot dog is going to be out the door. That's a deal that's too good to pass up. It's a ridiculous offer, and I've seen entire families eating lunch or dinner at the Costco. And that's my point. That's the same effect that you want to have on your leads and your customers. You want to make an offer that's so good that your ideal clients will literally feel stupid saying no. And this is the smallest change that you can make that will have the biggest impact on your business. It's that simple. If you make an offer much better, then you will win. Then we have the E, which stands for execute and sell. And if you do the first 3 steps well enough, then this step usually takes care of itself. And what I mean by that is, if you can make the offer so good that your ideal client will simply be unable to pass it up, then the sales take care of themselves and you don't really have to do anything. But the idea here is that you want to modify your sales process just enough so that you no longer need to do any persuasion or objection handling during the sales call. You want your clients to be sold before they ever even speak to you. So the sales process is more about onboarding and welcoming your new clients. I'll just tell you, figuring all this out took me several years of full-time hands-on work to develop this system. Putting it together on my own without knowing whether I was doing it correctly or if I was even headed in the right direction, that was hard. I mean, imagine paddling across the ocean at night with no lights, no compass, no map. The only thing I knew was a vague idea of where I wanted to end up. Now, here's the best part for you. I've taken everything that I've learned over that time and I've turned it into a book. Now, maybe you're a do-it-yourselfer, and if you want to go and try and do it all on your own, then more power to you. But I've got an easier way for you. It's called the Freedom Profit System. You see, if you're truly ready to make your business start working for you, then you have to go from wherever you're doing now to living the life you really want. And that requires action. Whether you're trying to launch a business or you're already in business and you need to turn things around, then I know there's going to be at least one idea here that's going to move you closer to your goals. So let me talk about what's in the book. You're going to discover the exact process on how to identify a highly profitable yet sustainable market where the actual needs of customers are not being met, and how to know exactly what those customers are willing to buy before you ever try to sell anything to them. Plus, you're going to get my own private list of 40 pre-researched, highly in-demand niches that you can start serving today. You're also going to learn the 4 most common mistakes business owners make that actually prevent them from getting new clients on autopilot, and how to fix it so you can scale your business. You'll read about how to beat your competition using economics and why they can't do anything to stop you. This works for regardless of the size of your market or the size of your competition. In fact, the bigger your competitor is, the better this system works. All explained in detail on page 45. And the number one thing people ask me when I talk to them about my book is, Scott, how do we get more qualified leads? In fact, this question comes up so often that we came up with a special solution just to cure this problem. We've got a simple paid ad strategy that generated over 1,400% ROI that we include as a bonus with the book. I break down the entire process and the strategy in the book. I talk about how to put your sales and marketing on autopilot using software and on-demand employees. We also include a list of all the tools and resources that we use to operate our company to make it as efficient as possible. I wanted this book to be such a ridiculous offer, so I've added some additional bonuses. So when you get this book, you're also going to get an exclusive training that's going to help you with 2 things. 1, it's going to accelerate your success, and 2, it's going to amplify it. I want to help you get those results bigger and faster than you ever imagined possible. Now, this is perfect for you, whether you're just starting out or if you're already up and running. It's yours for free. And for a limited time, we're offering to do a 12-point profit assessment of your current business. This assessment's been a real game changer for every business who's had this done. Within a very short period of time, our analytics software will use hundreds of millions of weighted algorithmic sequences. And no matter what your revenue is now, we'll be able to show you exactly what areas to focus on to have the biggest and fastest impact on your profits. And we do this by creating a populated roadmap that you can specifically follow to quickly generate additional profit from the resources already in your business. We'll show you with near perfect accuracy the exact business growth strategies that will generate the most revenue for your business in the shortest amount of time and at no additional cost to you whatsoever. Now, I know this is already an absolute no-brainer, but I'm going to take it a step further. So you literally have no reason not to go ahead with it. I'm going to offer you the world's most rock-solid guarantee. You see, most guarantees today are laughable. They give you a little trial run, and by the time you even get around to reading the thing, it's over. They give you 7, 15, sometimes they're really generous. They give you as much as 30 days. That's why I'm going to give you an entire year to test the Freedom Profit System. That's right. You buy the book today for $5, and I'll give you an entire year. You can relax, take it easy, and enjoy the process. Read the book at your own leisure, and then plan your strategy using the other tools we include with the book. You've got time to study, apply, and execute on your own time and in your own way. If you decide it's not for you, that's completely okay. We make it super easy. You don't even have to speak to us or tell us why. You can just click a link on our page and you'll instantly and quietly get all your money back. You can even keep the book and all the bonuses as a gift. Maybe you'll find value in them as reference materials. In exchange for this generous guarantee, there's only one thing I ask in return. Because we're giving you an entire year to read the book, to digest the material, and execute, I would just like you to promise me that you'll actually give it a go and try to implement everything, and don't just let it collect digital dust. That's how serious I am about wanting you to succeed. Now, if all this is of interest to you, being able to profitably build your own business that you control and affords you the freedom lifestyle you've always wanted, then I've laid out my 7-year journey in one nice book under 100 pages that you can follow along and implement. Whether you want to start a business or you're already up and running and you'd like to make your business work for you and enjoy the kind of transformation that's truly life-changing, this will be perfect for you. So if this sounds like anything of interest, then go ahead, get the book. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from you, especially if there are certain parts that you really liked. I would love to know more about that. So go ahead, get the ebook, send me an email. I want to hear about your journey. And I want to thank you so much for your attention and your time. I hope you have a fabulous day. Bye-bye.